Shall we begin? Let's begin now. Let's begin now.
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Is that all you got?
Let's begin now.
What up? Oh, for sure.
Hi everyone, how's it all going? All 10 of you. When I went live last night, I was saying how they just switched me off and how YouTube are basically, I'm not showing up in anybody's, anybody's streams, anybody's recommendations now on YouTube. And as a result, I only had 19 people watching me when I went live last night, and now we've got 10. So we're half what we were last night. It's great, this is. I'm thinking I would get more viewers right now by just ditching my YouTube channel and going up, the town and standing on a box and doing my show from the middle of the town centre, standing on a crate. What do you think? No notification, says Liam Bobrick. Almost missed the stream just now. See what I mean? No notification. They've switched me off, everybody. They've switched me off, as I was saying last night. I'm not showing up in anybody's YouTube notifications. They're not sending out any notifications when I go live. Yeah, they've switched me off. So I'm reliant on you liking this stream and sharing it to get the views. Thanks very much if you are doing that. Hi Triana Be Fine, hi Zoxilix, hi Liam. Alright, let's get straight into it. I ended my live stream last night with a call for people to send a letter and to support Chelsea Manning in any way they can, because it's coming up to, I think it's today actually, it's 1 year since she was incarcerated in a Virginia jail for not testifying against her publisher. Remember, she's in prison right now. She's not charged with any crime at all. They just want her to testify against her publisher, and she's refusing because she believes in the Fourth Amendment and she believes in First Amendment rights in America. I think it's First Amendment, isn't it? Although, it doesn't really matter what amendment it is. Some Americans seem to just pick and choose which ones they want and when. But I was mentioning in my live stream last night how we really need to support her. And as soon as I finished, I heard news that she's tried to commit suicide again. This is a statement from the Sparrow Project, which is her outlet. Statement from Chelsea Manning's legal team. Miss Manning is recovering in hospital. It's the statement on Wednesday, 11th of March. Chelsea Manning attempted to take her own life. She was taken to a hospital and is currently recovering. Miss Manning is still scheduled to appear on Friday for a previously calendared hearing at which Judge Anthony Trenga will rule on a motion to terminate the civil contempt sanctions stemming from her May 2019 refusal to give testimony before a grand jury investigating the publication of her 2010 disclosures. In spite of those sanctions, which have so far included over a year of so-called coercive incarceration and nearly $500,000 in threatened fines, she remains unwavering in her refusal to participate in a secret grand jury process that she sees as highly susceptible to abuse. Miss Manning has previously indicated she will not betray her principles, even at risk of grave harm to herself. Writing in a 2019 letter to Judge Trenga, Miss Manning said, "I object to this grand jury as an effort to frighten journalists and publishers who serve a crucial public good. I have had these values since I was a child, and I've had years of confinement to reflect on them. For much of that time I demanded for survival on my values, my decisions and my conscience. I will not abandon them now." Her actions today evidence the strength of her convictions as well as the profound harm she continues to suffer as a result of her civil confinement, a coercive practice that the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Torture, Nils Melzer, recently said violates international law. Prior to her current incarceration, Miss Manning served 7 years in a military prison under unusually difficult conditions, including 11 months of solitary confinement. And that is the statement that her team have released on her behalf. They're trying to kill her. They're trying to break her. And she won't break. This grand jury, the reason she's in prison is because it's a coercive measure, as the statement says there. It's meant to, so she will finally testify. Now, at any point, if that judge believes that she will not break, they have to release her. But they won't. They can keep her in prison for another year if they want, or another 6 months, and then they can just reconvene another grand jury and keep her in there again. Without charge, remember. She's been held in this prison without charge. They don't mind if she kills herself either, because then they can just make up whatever they want. They really won't mind. They're trying to break this person. They're trying to kill her. What can you do? Well, first of all, you can write to her. She's obviously in a really bad predicament there, and I urge you to do that. Here is the address. If you want it, when I release this video, I'll drop the address below so you can copy it out. Chelsea Elizabeth Manning, AO18-1426 William G. Truesdale Adult Detention Centre, 2001 Mill Road, Alexandria, Virginia, 22314. As Comrade Misty says there, if you only do one thing today, please write to Chelsea. She needs us right now. There's my letter that I will post tomorrow. I've written it. Please do that. Please write to her. She needs your support. We all need to support her because this is a courageous woman. Write to your representative as well if you can, and protest this cruel, inhumane torture of a person for having morals. Do something, you know. Write to famous people if you can on Twitter. Try and get them involved. Be civil. If you've got any friends in the LGBTQ community, make them aware of Chelsea's plight. They might not be aware. There is such a media blackout on this after all. Do something if you value truth, if you value the justice system, if you value free speech. If you think releasing those files that Chelsea Manning released, including that collateral murder video, by the way, that showed 2 Reuters journalists being gunned down by an Apache helicopter, and then the government covering it up and lying about it. That's what it proved, along with thousands of other things. But if you believe that that was released in the public good, and you believe that Chelsea Manning did the right thing then, because otherwise we wouldn't know about these things probably, then write her a letter, show your support. She really needs us right now. She really does. This person is heroic. Remember, she's in jail. She's in prison right now for refusing to publish, she's refusing to testify against her publisher. That's all. She's not committed any crime and she's in prison. Meanwhile, the people in that collateral murder video, the war criminals and the people who covered up for those crimes, they're not in prison. They're not in prison. They face no time in prison whatsoever. Chelsea Manning has spent the best part of a decade behind bars to bring us that information, that important information. The people who committed those crimes, they faced no repercussions whatsoever. How is that justice? Please write to her. Please write to your representative as well and demand that they do something about this. Because this person is heroic. She's a hero. As I said yesterday, if the LGBTQ community had their wits about them, she'd be their poster child. She's not just a great role model for that community, a great ambassador for it after everything she's been through. She's a great ambassador. She's a great role model for humanity. Please show your support. Literally, the second I got off air last night, I went to Twitter and it was there. It's the first thing I saw. My heart aches. I felt my stomach fall out of my backside when I saw it. They're trying to kill her. They're trying to kill Julian Assange. They want their secrets. They want to keep their secrets. Hi everyone. Just check it. Everything is okay with my stream because, yeah, it is. I finally sorted out my restreaming after about a month. Aren't I clever? Useless with technology, I really am. Before the quarantine, everybody talking about the coronavirus by the look of it again in the chat. It's going to be huge, it's going to be huge. I will get to it in just a second. Just bear me a second. Okay. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I need to do an update on the coronavirus because this is progressing at a rapid pace now. The news is progressing at a rapid pace. You might remember this from just, I think it was yesterday. I think this is right. This is yesterday. This is Trump yesterday.
And we're prepared and we're doing a great job with it. And it will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away.
It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away. Well, he's met a Brazilian aide a few days ago that it turns out has been tested positive for the coronavirus. So maybe he was wrong there. And then last night, you may have seen, he went live, made a speech. Rolling Stone say, unable to deport the coronavirus. Trump tries a ban. Yeah, he's banned flights from Europe, not including the United Kingdom, though. Why? He's banned flights coming in from Europe, but not the United Kingdom. What? So we're okay with the coronavirus, are we? No, we're not. There's a mobile testing facility 2 miles down the road from me. They're all over the place. We're getting prepared for it by the look of it. I say by the look of it because our Prime Minister is Boris Johnson. I still can't believe I'm saying that. This is him earlier today. I'm going to play this. This is pretty serious, and they're acting serious, but as you'll see, they're not really doing anything by the look of it. Take a listen.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for coming. I've just chaired a meeting of the government's emergency committee, including ministers from Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, and it's clear that coronavirus COVID-19 continues and will continue to spread across the world and our country over the next few months. We've done what can be done to contain this disease, and this has brought us valuable time, but it's now a global pandemic, and the number of cases will rise sharply. Indeed, the true number of cases is higher, perhaps much higher than the number of cases we have so far confirmed with tests. And I've got to be clear, we've all got to be clear, this is the worst public health crisis for a generation. Some people compare it to seasonal flu. Alas, that is not right. Owing to the lack of immunity, this disease is more dangerous and it's going to spread further. And I must level with you, level with the British public. More families, many more families, are going to lose loved ones before their time.
So, more people are going to lose loved ones, which is really strange. They've gone from the contain period now to the delay period. However, if you're confused as to what that is, join the club, because from what I can tell, they're not closing schools right now. They're not banning sports events right now, although they might do in the near future. And they're not banning any large gatherings or, martial law or anything like that. So what's the difference between the contain period and the delay period? Well, if you're confused as to what the government policy is on this, then I've got something that just might, a clip from Yes Minister from years ago that might actually put it all into perspective as to what the government's position on this and policy on this is. Take a listen. Doesn't it sound exactly like their policy for the coronavirus?
In stage one, we say nothing is going to happen.
Stage two, we say something may be going to happen, but we should do nothing about it.
In stage three, we say that maybe we should do something about it, but there's nothing we can do.
Stage four, we say maybe there was something we could have done, but it's too late now.
In stage one, we say nothing is going to happen.
That was. So yeah, there you go. Looks like the government's response to the coronavirus crisis is to follow the script from Yes Minister. What could go wrong, eh? Wash your hands, everybody. Wash your hands. And that's what's tanking the economy. Is it? Says Anthony Reyes. What does the price of oil have to do with the coronavirus? That's what's tanking the economy. I don't know. The oil price is. I was just looking at it. There's something on Wall Street Journal. My right monitor live read. This is the Wall Street Journal now. Fed to inject $1.5 trillion into the bank in a bid to prevent unusual disruptions in markets. $1.5 trillion. Are you going to pay for that? I think it was Carl Klinsky on Twitter said free college would cost $100 billion. There's 150 times, what is it, 15 times more? Is it 15 times more? 100 billion? Yeah, 15 times more. Or is it 150 times more? My maths is off today. But yeah, you can look at the top there. The Dow Jones is down 8.31. See it up there. 8.31%. Nasdaq's down 8.2. There's the oil price. Sorry, no, that's the 10-year bond, I think. There's the crude oil. It's down to 31.40, 31.39 a barrel, down 5%. This is because Saudi Arabia have started overproducing, and Russia have done it as well, and that's going to drop the price of crude oil down. Now, I'm not actually sure whether that will equate to prices at the tank, because prices at the tank I would have thought will help people if that goes down in America and help Trump, but it's not going to be great for America's oil production because theirs is shale, I believe. the dirty one, and it costs more. So if the price of oil drops, it makes shale uncompetitive. And all those companies that have borrowed a shit ton of money from the Fed to create their oil companies, their shale companies, they haven't, that money hasn't been injected. The Fed's basically loaned it them. So they're going to go bust now. So can't pay their loans, and then the banks are going to be even more out of pocket. It's only going to go one way, this is. It's not going to get better, I don't think. We'll see in the coming weeks. I can see them, telling everybody to stay indoors there for a couple of weeks. It's going to get worse. Wash your hands. I need to do, I did a video last night. I wasn't happy with it when I saw it this morning, so I'm going to do it again, if you don't mind. If you saw this last night, I apologise for putting you through it again. I'll try and be quick. So some good news, finally. Some good news, finally, in the UK. From the January next year, there will be no VAT whatsoever on women's sanitary products. So what that means is that that sanitary products, tampons, are now no longer classed as a luxury item in the UK. Yes, I know. For something to have VAT on it, it needs to be classed as a luxury. And that's what they were classing tampons as. The VAT, for those of you who don't know, value-added tax, used to be called purchase tax. It came in at the end, round about 1940 in World War II. I think it was meant to be a temporary tax. And it was there, it was meant to deter waste of raw materials during the war. And then the purchase tax was replaced when we joined the EEC in the 70s, what was 73, with a flat 10% tax on all luxury goods. And it went down to 8% shortly after that. So that's why we pay VAT, and it's gone up incrementally through, various administrations since then, until in 2011, the Tories put it up to 20%. Did it go up or down to 20%? I can't remember from then. I think they put it up to 20%. I think it was at 17.5%. And it stayed there since. Critics of the VAT system, of which I am one, think it's an unfair tax. It's an indirect tax for a start. We don't actually pay it directly. The stores pay it on our behalf. They take it off us. It's there, and it's in with the price of our goods that we buy. But if you actually look at that, and because it's a flat rate, that means that the poorest among us, pay the highest percentage of their incomes in VAT. The rich argue that, but we pay more than VAT than everybody, but, it's just a lesser percentage of their incomes. But it's basically unfair, critics say. But then there are other problems with the VAT system as well, because rich people will say, but, we pay more VAT into the system on a whole. But as is usual with rich people, it's pretty much a choice, taxes. For instance, you may remember this from a few years ago. Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton avoided tax on his £16.5 million luxury jet. According to the Paradise Papers documents, they show a 3.3 million VAT refund was given to him after the Bombardier Challenger 605 was imported into the Isle of Man in 2013. Now, obviously, a poor person wouldn't be able to do that. A poor person who's buying a pair of trainers that he has to have a 20%, he has to pay 20% VAT on. He can't import that through the Isle of Man. He can't do the things that the rich people do to avoid paying their due tax. You see the point I'm making here. It's not fair. It's not fair. There's no choice for the poor and middle class. They have to pay the VAT. When you get to the super rich, it's a choice. It's the same with income tax as well. If you look at the system, and the VAT system is stupid. It really is stupid. There's no rhyme or reason as to what has got VAT on and what hasn't. Of course, you'll remember in the 80s, there was, the big question, wasn't it? Is the Jaffa cake a cake or a biscuit? Well, I can tell you, it's a cake. And the reason it's a cake is there's no VAT on it. There's no VAT on cakes, but there is on biscuits. And McVitie's had to prove in a court of law, they had to prove that they were a cake. And they proved it by saying, look, when cakes go stale, they go hard, which Jaffa cakes do, and biscuits go soft. And that's how they proved it. And that's why there's no VAT on Jaffa cakes, or at least there wasn't. So the system's screwed. I mean, why are biscuits classed as a luxury item, but cakes not? I'm not sure whether it is 100% like that. It might have changed since that court case in the 80s, but I'm sure you remember it. But VAT is just as tricky when it comes to pets. Pet food sold as such is standard rated, anything canned or packaged and prepared as pet food. But loose produce, bagged up when bought, does not meet these tests and therefore is not VATable. Food for working dogs is also zero rated unless it's biscuits or meal. There's no rhyme or reason to this VAT. They just make it up as they go along. Oh, there's VAT on that, there's VAT on... And it's been tinkered with so much, it makes no sense whatsoever to keep it. Especially when you look at some of the things that don't have VAT on them at all. And I'm thinking mostly here, financial services. There's no VAT on financial services. Remember, VAT is a tax that, it's on companies to basically say, hey, you have to pay that on every transaction as a sort of thank you for operating within the realm of our government and what our current government presides over. Why not financial services if that's the case? Why not? Why have financial services VAT free? The total UK turnover generated by financial services by the financial service industries increased from 2.4 trillion to 2.6 trillion, an increase of 224.8 billion in 2017. So it's a huge market. If you just put a 1% tax on that, a 1%, just 1%. 1% VAT on financial services on the people, who crashed the economy 10 years ago and have made out like bandits ever since. Meanwhile, 200,000 people have died from austerity cuts to pay for those bankers' mistakes. I say mistakes. It's not a mistake. It's a jack. They'd gone away with it and they knew they could. That's why they've been doing it ever since then. No, there were no repercussions. But if you just put a 1% tax on those financial services, you could scrap VAT altogether. We'd pay for it. Almost exactly, actually. And you look at 137 billion, I think it is, that VAT gets. With that in mind, with this in mind, maybe scrapping the tampon tax, maybe that should be taken a little further. Or as I said in my tweet, there shouldn't be VAT on anything, period. That's comedy genius. I don't care what anybody says. That's comedy genius. 10 likes, look. Just 10 likes that got. Comedy genius, and it got 10 likes. My talents are wasted on the 5,000 Russian bots that follow me on Twitter. At Gordon Dimmack, please give me a follow. My genius needs some oxygen. Sorry, everybody. I know people will have seen that yesterday, but I didn't do a great job of it yesterday. And I wanted to re-record it. Google just sent me an alert from NPR. Google seems to think I'm interested in NPR. They really are crap. I noticed super chats come in. Rob Juno, thanks very much again, mate. 549 Canadian dollars. Can you tell we love you, Gordon? I can, Rob. Thanks very much, mate. I really appreciate that. Can't do this without your support. Really can't. Because I'm getting nothing from Google. I need to get to this. Stopping on the theme of the coronavirus, which is all anybody is talking about at the moment, I want to talk about a story in The Guardian, because regular listeners to of mine will know I've got no love lost for The Guardian whatsoever. And this story, it highlights to me just how shitty that rag is. Because they wrote an article. Reasons to be... Ooh. They wrote an article. 9 reasons to be reassured. It's a while ago, a week ago, I think it was, 10 days ago. And they had to put a correction at the bottom of the article, which is genius. They had to put a correction at the bottom of an article because they got that wrong. And the way they got it wrong is... it's from Damien Council. This is the correction at the bottom of that article now in The Guardian. This article was amended on the 7th of March 2020, so 5 days ago. An earlier version wrongly stated that, quote, a solution of ethanol, hydrogen peroxide and bleach will disinfect surfaces. End quote. It is dangerous to combine such substances. It now states correctly that, quote, a solution of ethanol, hydrogen peroxide or bleach will disinfect surfaces. Now, why is and bleach changed to or bleach? Why would they do that? Well, I had a little look. Google is your friend. Rubbing alcohol contains ethanol or isopropyl alcohol, which, when mixed with household bleach containing sodium hypochlorite, will create chloroform and hydrochloric acid. They've given the ingredients for chloroform, one of the, if you mix alcohol with bleach, they've given the ingredients for chloroform as a way to protect against the coronavirus. And the idiocy doesn't stop there, because there's hydrogen peroxide, wasn't there, as well? This is Google. Never mix hydrogen peroxide with household ammonia, chlorine, bleach, or vinegar in a closed container, because dangerous gases can form. You're also wasting your money if you use both hydrogen peroxide and chlorine bleach in the same wash load. You really shouldn't. Bleach plus hydrogen peroxide creates oxygen gas so violently it can cause an explosion. So The Guardian, in all their wisdom, have given the ingredients for chloroform and a bomb to fight the coronavirus epidemic, or pandemic as it's being called now. The Guardian. As shitty as ever, wouldn't you say? Aye, aye. Jordan and Hardlens Media have a falling out, Jordan said, over his TYT sex scandal that he wasn't guilty of, says Zoxilix. You're talking about Jordan Chariton, are you? Yes, he wasn't guilty of that. I don't believe he was anyway. Right, I think that's me done for the night, everybody. I think that's all I needed to... 1, 2... 1, 2... 3, 4. Yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about tonight. Please support independent media. I can't do this without you. Thank you very much for everybody who does. I'm gonna get around to sending that email one day to everybody to explain how grateful I am for all of your support. These are really interesting times, and you're not getting the truth from the mainstream media. They're feeding you bollocks and bullshit, keeping you in the dark, treating you like mushrooms. Support independent media, folks. We'll see you right. Thanks very much, everybody. Have you listened to Tim Dillon say his propaganda? No, I haven't. I haven't listened to Tim Dillon. I have heard of the person, though. You should have him on your show. I'll take a look. Propaganda. Thanks very much for your support, everybody. Please make sure you're subscribed. Click the bell below so you get a notification of when I drop further videos for independent media. I love you all. Thanks very much. I'm back. I've just seen a super chat come in right at the end of the stream from Triana Be Fine. $10 USD. Per character jumping up and down saying #1 fan, it says here. I'm right, so #1 fan. Thanks very much, Triana Be Fine. Really appreciate that. Take care, everyone. Love you all.